Hello and a very warm welcome to all. I'm Meha Bhardwaj Alter and this is Game On. India have played 3 matches in the World Cup so far, having won all 3 of them comfortably. But the one player who stood out in 2 of those 3 matches has been Captain Rohit Sharma. Rohit had openly spoken about the disappointment of missing out on the 2011 World Cup glory. And once he took over the captaincy, he's been very clear in transforming his approach in white ball cricket to suit the needs of the modern game. The results in the beginning weren't as successful as he would have liked, but that changed aggressive style of play is the reason why India are on top of the World Cup points tally today. After a duck in the first game against Australia, Rohit has taken the game away from the opposition in the power play itself in the next 2 games. What has gone into this transformation, and can Rohit Sharma repeat the heroics of 2019 World Cup when he was the highest run scorer? He got 500s, but more importantly, can Captain Rohit Sharma repeat the heroics of 2019 with his ultra-aggressive batting to take India to their 3rd ODI World Cup title? Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. Like I said, let's go across to Chetan Narula and Vedam Jaishankar, who join us on this show for this discussion. Guys, today we've decided to just talk a little bit about Rohit Sharma and the genius of Rohit Sharma. Why I'm saying this, Chetan, is that in the last 2 games, we've spoken about how he's just sort of taken the game away from the opposition in the power play itself. But this has happened over the last 2 years, and we've got to give him credit today to what he has done and how he's stuck with it, right?
Hello, Meha. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is no reason to not appreciate Rohit Sharma and you know, what he's done in the last 2 games. You know, very, very rarely does it happen that, you know, before a big tournament, a player comes out and says, this is what I want to do. And then just goes on and does exactly that. So, you know, for this, I hate to use the word process, but it has been a process for Rohit Sharma. Pre-World Cup, during the Asia Cup, or just before that, he wanted to be in the same mind frame as in 2019. It's not easy because in 2019, let's not forget, he was just an opening batsman for India. He had no real thoughts about team selection, combination. Yes, he was the vice captain, but we knew that was a team properly run by Virat Kohli, Ravi Shastri as the coach, etc., etc. So even as a vice captain, you don't have so many responsibilities. But this time around, it was absolutely different. And to burden that responsibility, to shoulder it, just as not just as captain, but also opening batsman, and to make a statement like that I want to be like 2019, and then to go on and, you know, just showcase that ability, that run scoring ability. I think it's been marvelous watching him in the last 2 games, and there is no reason why it shouldn't continue for the remainder of the World Cup.
Absolutely. Now, what you're seeing are his numbers when he was batting from 2016 to 2019, Vedam, where his average was better, but his strike rate much lower. As soon as he took over captaincy, I very clearly remember that press conference where he said that, look, we already want to have an aggressive approach in T20Is. That's something we need to do, especially in the power plays. But I'm going to say that we need to do that in ODIs as well, which is what he's done. Now, there have been question marks around it. You know, it's not that this has been all successful. There have been times when he has been questioned about why is it that he's getting the starts, but he's not able to convert them into the big daddy hundreds that he was getting earlier on, right? But what we're seeing today is that maybe there is a method to that madness. Maybe he knows more than all of us who've questioned him, and he knows that the only way he thinks that the team can win from here on is with that aggressive style of batting, and he's doing it successfully.
Yeah, Meha, you're right. He needs to bat aggressively, just like the top order needs to bat aggressively. Like we've been saying again and again, when the ball is new and it's hard, that's when you can score maximum runs. And what we have in India, the top order especially, is somebody like Rohit Sharma. Some of the shots that he plays, the pull shot, for instance, or the lofted drives, you know, those are ideal for that kind of situation. And he's blessed with it. He's got lovely timing. You know, he's very unhurried, and when they dig the ball in, I mean, they just bowl into his strengths. and with just two fielders allowed in the outfield, is the right time really to go hell for leather. We've seen this happening earlier. Actually, Sri Lanka at one time when they had Jayasurya and Kaluwitharana, they had two attacking batsmen at the top,
Yeah.
and later Sehwag. Sachin Tendulkar came on to the top order. So Matthew Hayden, for instance, for Australia. So we've seen this kind of approach really paying off. And if it's your day, some of those shots, even if it gets edges, will fly off from the closing fielders.
Yeah.
So I think what really is required at this stage is a sort of bold approach and selfless approach. Yes, there are times when you go for those big shots, you will get out. But if you keep going at it, especially when the ball is new and hard and with so many open spaces out there, yeah, it'll really pay off and help the team. The important thing is the team needs to get off to a good start. When I mean a good start, also a good run rate. And I think somebody like Rohit Sharma, which is aggressive stroke play, is ideally suited for it. And the fact that he is now the skipper is, it actually takes a load off his mind. He doesn't have to worry about his plays or anything. And he can lead by example. And I think that's what he's doing. And he's also got another aggressive batsman at the other end in Shubman Gill. So between them, it's a question of who's going to attack that particular day, or maybe both will attack if the situation is right. And I think the formula is good.
Okay, now we're asking you, our viewers as well, what do you think of Rohit Sharma's performance so far, and do you believe that he can repeat the heroics of 2019 where he was the top scorer of the tournament and he scored 500s? He's already scored 100. He looked good to get that another 100 in the match against Pakistan. It wasn't to be, but there are still many games left. So we're asking you that question. Do let us know in the comment section below. But yes, as soon as Rohit Sharma took over as the captain of India in T20Is, he'd made his intentions clear in changing their approach in power plays. He said the change will not just be restricted to the shortest format, but also the ODIs. And he led the change from the front, putting a lower price on his own wicket. But he knew that was the way forward from 2016 to 2019, that golden phase for Rohit Sharma, where he scored 1,000 runs in ODIs 3 times out of those 4 years. But since he took over the captaincy, he decided to change that approach. So he started batting at a faster rate. His strike rate has shot up. You were seeing those numbers right here. His strike rate is up to 114. He may not be getting those big hundreds, but he's scoring faster, which is what he thinks the team needs in the power plays. In this World Cup, he's getting the desired results due to that change. In the match against Afghanistan, he scored 76 of 43 in the power plays, which ensured that India won that game with 15 overs to spare. In a tricky run chase against Pakistan, he made sure there were no hiccups after scoring 86 in 57 deliveries, which made the chase comfortable for the middle order. Take a look at that then. 141 has been his strike rate in this World Cup. He's already the 3rd highest run scorer in the tournament. We're going to also get you the top 5 scorers, run scorers as well as wicket takers, and talk about them. But I think where I need to say that this has been special, Chetan, is also, okay, let's just first take a look at that. The top 5 run getters, which is Mohammad Rizwan right at the top, 248 runs at an average of 124. And, there may be controversies around what he tweeted on, Gaza, but you can easily say that that innings was superb, which is exactly what Pakistan needed. It was a big total that they were chasing, but he got them to that total against Sri Lanka. Then there is Devon Conway. He has been really in the form of his life. 228 runs, striking at 104. Let's take a look at Rohit Sharma, who's in the number 3 spot. He's striking at 141, which is what stands out for me. 217, averaging 72, and in the 2 matches, what he's done is not only helped India win that game, but also better than net run rate in the way he has begun. Then there's Quinton de Kock. Another day for him today. Can he, continue from where he left off in the last game? He's playing his last World Cup, so we know what's at stake when it comes to Quinton de Kock. And clearly, he might look at extending his run in international ODIs, in international cricket when it comes to ODIs after the World Cup. Then there is Kushal Mendis from Sri Lanka, who has been their batting mainstay in this tournament. And They are dependent in a big way on Kushal Mendes. These are the top 5 batters. We'll get to the bowlers, but let's first stick to this conversation about Rohit Sharma. He's number 3 on that list, Chetan. The thing that stands out for me, I was reading somewhere his stats. I think players since the start of 2023 who've scored 300 runs in ODIs. I was looking at the strike rate. The only other 2 players, international players who've done this, have been Travis Head and Phil Salt. And then there is Rohit Sharma with the best strike rate after these 2. And then there are the others, Shubman Gill and the other batters. The thing that stands out is it's not easy at this point in your career to make that adjustment and say that, you know what, especially because the pressure is on you, to say that, you know, this is what I think we need in the modern game, this is what the team needs out of me, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's why it's even more special in the way he's gone about this transformation.
Well, yes, you're right there. I mean, at this age, it's easier to go the other way, you know, to slow down, to become an accumulator. It's not as easy to change gears when you're in superb batting form. And let's be honest, Rohit Sharma wasn't in the best batting form when the year started. There's been a couple of knocks that he played. I think the first one was the test match against Australia. I think the first test, Nagpur it was. He played a great innings there. I set the tone for the series. But overall, it's been an up and down year, first half of the year in terms of form. But then obviously he's you know, got it together for the World Cup. He was focusing his energy, attention on this one tournament, and it seems to be working out for him. I mean, obviously it's just been 3 matches. That average, that strike rate that we're talking about, there's one thing that's very important to note there. You know, in 2019, they were playing in England. Yeah. And conditions there are very, very different. Initially, the ball does a bit. So the strike rate has to be lower. You know, I was there covering that World Cup, and I was there when he struck that 100 against South Africa. And the other day, you know, Ravi Shastri, who was the coach, he said that out of all his World Cup 100s, that was the best 100 because it set the tone for India. And I think he was absolutely on the money, because I remember that day in Southampton, it was an overcast day. You know, it had been raining the previous day. It had been raining in the morning. It was an overcast day. Kagiso Rabada was bowling brilliantly. I mean, the spell Rabada bowled first up, it was absolutely beautiful. And, you know, Rohit, you know, kind of, you know, he braved that storm really. And he batted, and then there was some spin, and he countered spin as well. So, you know, throughout that tournament, he made sure that he was countering the conditions in the first 20 overs and trying to bat long. The only game I remember where he batted with a higher strike rate was the Manchester game. The Birmingham game against England, where you had one side of the boundary which was really short. It was 45 meters, and it was a very, very beautiful batting track, and they just went hell for leather. They were chasing 350 odd or whatever. So that was the only day in the whole tournament where he batted with a higher strike rate.
Yeah.
And I think the differentiation this time around, obviously it's in the pitches. These are pitches where he's grown up. It's bread and butter for him once he's set. And that's the best part. In the first 2-3 overs, it just takes him 2-3 overs to get set, get his eye in, and then he just takes advantage of the field and just goes above the infield, which reminds me of Sana Jasuria in 1996. You know, just taking on the field and going over the top so that there's nobody in the deep and nobody can catch you. So this is turning out to be a masterclass from Rohit Sharma. Obviously, those 2 games, the ball became softer after 30 overs, as we had discussed. So it was very, very important for him to go hard at the ball. And that's what he's done. And again, like I said, it's just been 3 matches. I really hope it continues. And we're going to see a few more hundreds from him this World Cup.
It also comes down to the conditions, yes, as Chetan was saying. But to think that in both these games, I was just looking at his strike rate, Vedam. He's got the best strike rate. I mean, except for Shubman Gill in that game. And he really did get off to a good start. You felt like if he continued to bat it like that, India would have won much easily. But what we saw is that once Shubman Gill got out, Shreyas Iyer's strike rate is below 100. But Rohit Sharma has maintained that 100+ strike rate in both the matches. Even in the one where Virat Kohli scored a 50, in the match against Afghanistan. In that match as well, Virat Kohli's 50 is a runner ball. I mean, he's got 55 of 56 deliveries. Ishan Kishan at the other end, I was telling this to Chetan, we were there at Kotla, and I said, why is it that it looks like Rohit is so much more fluent than Ishan Kishan? They're batting on the same pitch. But that's the difference that you see between Rohit and someone like an Ishan Kishan. So I'm going to ask you, what has been the change in terms of how he bats in Indian conditions, and what should the other batters be taking from him?
Basically, I think it's a question of freeing your mind, and that he always had the strokes. It's not that the stroke play is anything new to him. He always had the stroke. There was one chink there in his armor, that is when the ball was bent back at him, especially the initial stages of his batting. But what's happened now is some of them trying to bend the ball back at him are actually feeding him on his legs. It's not swinging as much in India. Maybe the first 2 or 3 overs are swinging, the ball is swinging, and when it's on his legs, then he just picks it up easily towards mid-wicket and square leg and gets easy runs. Like we said, there are open fields at that time. Maybe that is where they're trying to get Rohit Sharma, trying to get the ball in and the occasional ball leaving the bat. But what is happening is what was perceived to be his weak point is actually turning out to be his strength in India, because he's getting a lot of runs that way in that area. Otherwise, he's always been a brilliant timer of the ball. His timing is absolutely brilliant. He looks very unhurried when he is batting, and that short pitch delivery, which he really slams between mid-wicket and square leg, that's right up his alley. And here it's just the ball is standing up to be hit. The more they're trying to pitch shot at him, I mean, it's like feeding him on his strength. I think we need to get to a stage like one batsman, if we'll have to continue in that same vein. But at the other end, they need to keep the end going. It's not like both of them going hammer and tongs. That will be very difficult if you lose both wickets. Suddenly there'll be a lot of pressure. So I think they've got that right formula. If somebody is going at the other end, they just keep the end up, keep feeding the main batsman, in this case, Rohit Sharma, who's striking the ball well. Keep him going, and the others keep their wicket intact. It makes no sense if he is going hammer and tongs at one end and you keep losing wickets at the other end. That will prove to be counterproductive. And the Indian team is really playing to a plan. You can see that from right from the beginning. And I think Rohit is very much a big part of that plan.
How much of this rubs off on the other players? If you tell yourself that I'm not going to put a big price on my wicket as long as, I'm doing this job for the team, the Shubman Gills, the Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, do they follow the same style then?
No, I think what has been the message from this Indian team management, and obviously Rohit is a part of that every batsman has to bat to his strength. And I think we have seen that on the field, haven't we? Shubman Gill, yes, he just played that one game, or Ishan Kishan. They were batting to their strength on those respective days. In Ahmedabad, Shubman Gill started off with some really beautiful drive. Ishan Kishan in Kotla, he was trying to bat time because he hadn't batted very well in Chennai. So he was trying to get some runs under his belt, making sure that he was ready in the right mindset going to Ahmedabad. And Virat Kohli, he's not hurried up. He's actually batted slower. And he's actually batted the way he wants to. I mean, with Rohit going at the other end, it has perhaps allowed Virat to bat the way he wants. Especially in Ahmedabad, we saw, he was just taking his time, playing the ball on merit, played some cracking boundaries. But again, he was not thinking that, okay, Rohit has already scored boundaries in this over, so I should not be scoring those boundaries. Or he wasn't thinking that, oh, you know what, Rohit has been attacking this bowler, let me also attack this bowler. No, I think he was enjoying that freedom to bat the way he wanted. Same goes for Shreyas Iyer. He was batting the way he wanted. So I think the message has been to the batsmen that play your natural game. Play the game you're comfortable in, read the situation, and then bat accordingly, temper that situation accordingly. And I think out of all of them, I think Rohit has been the most comfortable playing the attacking game. And that is down to mindset. That is down to conditions, obviously. And also the fact that, when he's set and in these conditions, he's probably one of the most destructive batsmen going around. There is a reason why he has hit almost 600 sixes, and a majority of them have come batting in Indian conditions. He enjoys these conditions. He's very, very destructive. And unlike Chris Gayle, there is a method to his madness. So the way he tempers his aggression and the way he's taking that new gear, I think that's marvelous to watch.
Which is then going to lead me to the next question. Would you have expected Rohit Sharma to be the highest six hitter in the three formats, given that he does not depend on just pure power? There is timing. I remember Hardik Pandya. There's a video that's doing the rounds where Hardik Pandya is asking him that why were you showing your biceps, and he said, somebody said that it's because of the bat I'm able to hit those sixes, and I said, no, it's not because of the bat, it's because of the power in my biceps. So it's more than that. It's the timing that he has with him, and it's ironic that someone like him holds that record.
Yeah, you're right on that score, because as most of the Indian players, it's with timing. And as far as Rohit Sharma is concerned, his timing, especially in this tournament, is sublime. There are days when your timing will go all right. There are days when you come across sticky pitches. You can't get away with what you're doing. But here on our pitches and in this particular tournament, of course, the first match was a hiccup. We were, 3 down for 2 runs. Things could have really gone wrong at that stage. But if you look at it later, he just picked himself up. And his timing, it's not a question of strength at all. I'm sure if he tries to hit the ball hard, his timing will go all right. He just needs to time the ball brilliantly, which he's doing. In fact, like I said, his timing has been sublime. And that's what is really helping him get those huge sixes. And let's not forget those fours. I mean, it looks like he's just caressing them to the fence, especially that beautiful cover drive or that flick off his front foot. I mean, they are brilliant. And I'm not even talking about those heaves to mid-wicket, It's just timing. He's not even trying to hit the ball hard. It's just timing. And it's not power, really. And that is the class of the batsman, Yeah, Indian batsmen are not power hitters. Very rarely do you come across power hitters in Indian cricket. But when somebody times the ball as brilliantly as Rohit is doing right now, it looks like poetry in motion, really. It really looks like poetry in motion. And if you can continue that, it's good that over 3 matches, we've got some sort of momentum going. But if we can continue that right through the league and then take that same kind of form and timing into the knockout, I think we are on a very good wicket.
Okay, the next question is, do you see him becoming the highest run scorer of the World Cup? Chetan?
That's a predicting question. Predict the winners of the World Cup, predict the highest run scorer. I mean, obviously, I think he has got the start. It's still early doors, just 3 matches. If he hadn't failed in Chennai, he would already be the leading run scorer. I think he'll have good competition from Devon Conway. I think Devon Conway is one batsman who's got the measure of these conditions. There's a reason why CSK rely on him so much. But I think just for his explosiveness, Rohit Sharma will probably lead the run charts. Obviously, he has 9 games in the league. And then it just depends, how many matches you have in the knockouts, really. It'll probably come down to India versus New Zealand at some stage. And I think that will be the deciding factor in who is the leading run scorer. I think it's between Rohit Sharma and Devon Conway. And if I may just add to your last question, I am not surprised. And I'm adding because I have a different answer from Vedam. I'm not surprised he's got so many sixes across formats, Rohit Sharma. I've been watching cricket since 1992, obviously younger than Vedam. He has seen more cricket, but however much I have watched, however much I have covered, and I've worshipped Sachin Tendulkar, I think Rohit Sharma is the easiest six hitter. When I say easiest, he makes it look the easiest. There's nobody who hits sixes with such ease, so much time. You can call it timing, you can call it power, but the time he has to hit those sixes, I am not at all surprised that he is the leading six hitter across formats, and he will finish as the leading six hitter in ODI cricket as well, in my personal opinion.
All that is okay, but why are you bringing Vedam's age into the whole conversation?
No,
because he hasn't seen Yuvraj Singh.
Respect. I was
because he's not seen Yuvraj Singh.
I have.
Yuvraj Singh,
like I said, I started watching in '92.
Cleanest strikers of the ball.
I have covered with Yuvraj. Yeah. No, no, like I
Okay,
said, I mean,
that's
obviously you've
you're
seen
both
more, and
entitled to
we
your
can have
opinion. You're
a
both entitled to your
yeah,
opinion. So
obviously.
that's the wonderful thing about cricket. But I'm going to ask the same question to Vedam before I move on to the match that's going on today. Vedam, do you see Rohit Sharma, given the kind of form that he's in, given the conditions and how good a batter he is in these conditions, do you see him becoming the highest run scorer of this World Cup?
He has the potential to become, because as I see it, whoever is going to become the highest run getter will come from the top four. I would say top three, but I'll stretch it down to the top four. Because given the conditions that we are playing in India, where the ball gets softer after about 30 overs, 25, 30 overs, it's actually the top three, maybe the top four, who will have a shot at it. I don't expect somebody coming at number six or number seven to come and become the top scorer. Not at all. It's not possible. There's no time. There are not enough overs, and the conditions are not ideal. Conditions are ideal when you are right there as the opener or number three. And I think we have put the three best batsmen who can go after the bowling. And I think Rohit Sharma is there, but we'll also have to look at the other top three batsmen, the number one, number two, number three batting order batsmen for the other teams. So it'll come from one of them.
Okay, let's get you an update from Dharamshala, where after a 2-hour rain delay, South Africa won the toss, put in Netherlands to bat first in overcast conditions. The match has been reduced to 43 overs per side, and 3 bowlers can bowl a maximum of 9 overs, 2 can bowl 8. South Africa gave Lungi Ngidi the new ball, and he started with a maiden over before, in those conditions, you could see there was movement in the air. But it was Kagiso Rabada who stuck first with the ball, with the first ball, in fact, of the match. Vikramjit Singh, he was trying to pull one, and he found Hendrik Klaassen to hand Rabada his 150th wicket in ODIs. Marco Jansen, he got rid of Max O'Dowd in the next over, leaving Netherlands struggling at 27 for 2. It became worse for Netherlands as their in-form batter, Bas de Leede, he was trapped LBW in Rabada's third over. So, good start for South Africa, and which has only gotten better. Right now, Netherlands tottering at 127 for 6. What can you expect from this game? Clearly, in the conditions that Netherlands were given, we knew that batting here, with the kind of bowling South Africa have, it's going to be a challenge for them, and it's turned out that way. Chetan?
It has. I'm not surprised by this scorecard. I mean, South Africa picked a bowling attack, in conjunction with the conditions. We spoke about it, that win the toss, bowl first. These are perfect conditions for that. So not really surprised, with South Africa's bowling quality troubling the Netherlands, who are as it is weak on batting, really, to be honest. The only the only danger I see is what happened in Chennai with India. If you're 10 for 3, then anything can happen, really. And I think that is Netherlands' only chance in this game. They still have 127 runs on the board. So if they can get the South African top order, which can happen, we don't know how the ball will move under lights. And obviously, Netherlands' bowling quality and South Africa's batting quality, there's no match up there. But still, weirder things have happened. Netherlands have done it before. So 20 for 3, 10 for 3, and they are in with a shout, and we'll have potentially another upset on the cards. Otherwise, I think South Africa have got this.
We've often spoken about in this tournament, we've spoken about South Africa's batting and how good they've been, not spoken as much about their bowling. And today they just showed, the depth that they have in their bowling as well. I mean, Gerald Coetzee comes in, he's bowling well. So there is no respite really. Yes, I know the conditions are helpful for the Pacers, Vedam, but to see that they've got everything in their bowling arsenal.
Yeah, and the fact that they're playing Netherlands, you never know how good or how bad an attack is unless it comes across a good batting lineup. As I see it, yes, Netherlands is not a good batting lineup. The only thing that they have going in this match is a needle. Both are have some sort of a Dutch ancestry, and there will be some needle definitely between them. Of course, a lot of Netherlands players also play in South Africa, so they're used to the language, the slang, the needling, the pushing and pulling. But yes, there's no doubt about it. Against the best of batsmen, this South African attack has proved itself. And Netherlands, Netherlands are not really a big test for it. It is not even a test playing country. It's not really a big test for it. Some of them who don't get into New Zealand or South African teams come and play for Netherlands. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call Netherlands such a great side. But we know that South Africa are famous for choking. So I don't know if they get away to a good start and lose 3-4 wickets.
I thought that was
Right?
only if the match had been reduced to 20 overs a side. It's still 43
Yeah.
overs. But
Yeah.
rain reduced matches
Whenever
are a
rain is
problem with
around.
South Africa. Chetan?
If rain is around, South Africa, gets scared and it's just. I mean, it started with rain. I mean, didn't it? I mean, 22 of one ball and all of that. So it started with rain. So whenever rain is around, expect South Africa to, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? So
I hope
like
they
I said,
have a sheet which
too
will
much,
keep
too
telling
much
them how
quality.
many runs required per ball, right?
Yes, exactly. So they go mad when there's rain around. So, but like I said, they have too much quality to lose today. But again, Netherlands' best chance is 10 for 3, 20 for 4, something like that. Otherwise, yeah, I don't see it happening, honestly.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
guys.
Netherlands also have to keep their nerve. See what happens even if they reduce them to, let's say, 10 for 4 and things like that. Netherlands have to keep their nerve. Whether they have the experience to do that is what really counts at this highest level. So
Yeah.
let's see. I think it should be interesting.
Yeah, true. They have done it in the way they qualified against Scotland, but again, different opposition, very, very different to South Africa. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us here. Chetan Narula and Vedam Jaishankar. That's it then. We've got to wrap this up. News 9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Delhi has the fastest growing metro network among G20 nations. From 6 stations in 2002, it today has 286 stations. Reliability, cleanliness and affordability have set the template for other Indian metros. The architect of this modern-day world-class marvel is E. Sridharan. Watch the extraordinary life of Metroman E. Sridharan streaming now on News 9 Plus. Download now.
Well, hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and you're watching this special broadcast from our studios here in the national capital. But our focus is going to be on who's funding Hamas, even as we're taking a look at the 11th day of the Israel-Hamas war and the crisis in Gaza. The latest updates, the latest death toll figures, and what is being looked at on day 11 right there on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. At least 2,800 people have been killed and more than 10,000 people have been wounded. All of this as a result of the Israeli airstrikes, ladies and gentlemen. Those airstrikes and the constant bombardment continues even as 1,400 Israelis have been killed in this Israel-Hamas war. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, 6 lakh Palestinians moved from the northern part of the strip to southern Gaza, and another lakhs Palestinians are expected to move as well. This all happening on the 11th day of the Israel-Hamas war, ladies and gentlemen. Also, at the same time, what we're picking up is that Hamas has said that up to 250 captives have been held in Gaza, are in their custody, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Hamas demands the release of 6,000 Palestinian prisoners. The idea strikes Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, even as it accuses Iran for ordering Hezbollah for carrying out those strikes in the border with Lebanon up in the north of Israel. Meanwhile, the Gazans, they're saying that they're being forced to drink salty water because of no supply of fresh drinking water. On the diplomatic side, United States President Joe Biden is expected to visit Israel tomorrow. And all of this, even as Iran warns of preemptive action, and Netanyahu retorts by saying, do not test Israel.
מיד אחר כך קרין. בטח.
Well, meanwhile, Israeli forces have initiated preparations of tanks and aircraft for ground assault on Gaza. Now, this is part of Israel's efforts to target Hamas and its military infrastructure. But tensions between Egypt and Israel has been on the rise after the attack by Hamas and various other groups that are supported by Iran. Now, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he slammed Israel, saying its action in Gaza had exceeded its right to self-defense and had become collective punishment. It's important to note here that Egypt shares a narrow border with Gaza Strip that has remained largely blocked over the past week. Egypt has opened up its airport in the Al Arish to receive international assistance for Gazans, with planes arriving from Jordan, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. Combined with donations from Egypt, they have been loaded into more than 100 trucks, which are lined up in the northern Sinai Peninsula and ready to enter Gaza through the Rafah crossing, albeit the Rafah crossing remains closed. However, Israel has not given a favorable response to the aid being sent to Gaza, resulting in tensions between both the countries. Now, tensions have also risen due to bombardment at the Rafah crossing as well. So Egypt wants Israel to allow aid to come into the Gaza Strip for all those that are battling with a deepening humanitarian crisis. No food, no water, no fuel, no energy, and a lack of hope as well. Desperation amidst darkness, ladies and gentlemen. These are some aerial shots of the Rafah crossing as well. Now, Egypt's government had repeatedly warned the Israeli government of an impending attack from Gaza, but it was ignored. Several Palestinians in Gaza hold dual citizenship, and Egypt has been asking for their safe passage. All of this in a meeting with United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The Egyptian president said that Israel is trapping the 2.3 million residents of Gaza. On the other hand, on the exact other hand of this diplomatic divide, United States is picking troops to prepare for potential deployment to the Middle East. Now, the US military has selected roughly 2,000 troops to prepare for a potential deployment to support Israel. US defense officials have corroborated this information as well. Now, the troops are tasked with missions like advising and medical support, because since they are from across the US and its armed services, they are not going to be intended to serve in a combatant role. No infantry has been put on prepared to deploy order, albeit 2,000 US troops are on prepared to deploy order. They won't be fighting, they're going to be advising and assisting in medical support. Now, the troops are currently stationed both inside the Middle East and outside, including Europe. Now, it isn't clear under what circumstances the US could deploy the troops or to where, but the Pentagon's decision signaled it's preparing to support Israeli troops should Israel launch a ground incursion into Gaza. It is unclear how many of those troops, should they be deployed, would go into Israel. But the official said that at least some of them could enter the country to support Israeli forces. Now, pre-deployment order doesn't mean the troops will certainly deploy, but rather shortens the time troops need to be ready to move. United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, he was earlier in Israel. He met with United States troops in Israel and checked in on a shipment of supplies for the Israeli Defense Forces as well. He had told the troops back then that he appreciated their work and said that Israelis would likely, quote unquote, need a lot more stuff. On the other hand, United States President Joe Biden will visit Israel tomorrow for talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And to make clear Israel has the right to defend itself, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced on Tuesday the remarks and confirmed that Joe Biden will, in fact, be there on Wednesday. Let's quickly listen in to what Antony Blinken had to say.
On Wednesday, President Biden will visit Israel. He's coming here at a critical moment for Israel, for the region, and for the world. And he's coming here to do the following. First, the President will reaffirm the United States' solidarity with Israel and our ironclad commitment to its security. President Biden will again make clear, as he's done unequivocally since Hamas's slaughter of more than 1,400 people, including at least 30 Americans, that Israel has the right and indeed the duty to defend its people from Hamas and other terrorists and to prevent future attacks. The President will hear from Israel what it needs to defend its people as we continue to work with Congress to meet those needs. Second, President Biden will underscore our crystal clear message to any actor, state or non-state, trying to take advantage of this crisis to attack Israel. Don't. To that end, he's deployed 2 aircraft carrier groups and other military assets to the region. Third, the President will continue to coordinate closely with our Israeli partners to secure the release of hostages taken by Hamas, including men, women, small children, Holocaust survivors, and American citizens, as an indispensable humanitarian effort. Fourth, President Biden will receive a comprehensive brief on Israel's war aims and strategy. Fifth, the President will hear from Israel how it will conduct its operations in a way that minimizes civilian casualties and enables humanitarian assistance to flow to civilians in Gaza in a way that does not benefit Hamas. To that end, today, and at our request, the United States and Israel have agreed to develop a plan that will enable humanitarian aid from donor nations and multilateral organizations to reach civilians in Gaza, and them alone, including the possibility of creating areas to help keep civilians out of harm's way. It is critical that aid begin flowing into Gaza as soon as possible. We share Israel's concern that Hamas may seize or destroy aid entering Gaza or otherwise preventing it from reaching the people who need it. If Hamas in any way blocks humanitarian assistance from reaching civilians, including by seizing the aid itself, we'll be the first to condemn it, and we will work to prevent it from happening again. We welcome the government of Israel's commitment to work on this plan. The President very much looks forward to discussing it further when he's here on Wednesday.
Well, now the Pentagon has deployed 2 aircraft carriers to the eastern Mediterranean, the Ford carrier and the Eisenhower carrier, along with their supporting ships. Washington says these massive warships are intended to send a message to the region as the war rages on between its ally Israel and Iran-backed Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. Here's a closer look at what that means.
The Pentagon has deployed 2 aircraft carriers to the eastern Mediterranean, the Ford carrier and the Eisenhower carrier, along with their supporting ships. Washington says these massive warships are intended to send a message to the region as war rages on between its ally Israel and Iran-backed Palestinian militants Hamas. Here's a closer look at what that means. The Gerald R. Ford carrier is the U.S.'s newest aircraft carrier and the world's largest. It holds 5,000 sailors, a nuclear reactor, and an arsenal of missiles used to counter drones and aircraft. It can also hold more than 75 military aircraft, including fighter jets, and comes along with several supporting warships. The nuclear-powered Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group first carried out operations during Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. It has 5,000 sailors and can carry up to 9 squadrons of aircraft, like fighter jets, helicopters, and those capable of carrying out intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations. The carriers would bolster Washington's presence in a region that already hosts a number of U.S. military ships, planes, and troops. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Sunday the aircraft carriers are not meant to be a provocation but a deterrence to ensure the conflict does not expand throughout the region. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin called them a sign of, quote, our resolve to deter any state or non-state actor seeking to escalate this war. But it might not be seen that way to others. Turkey, a long supporter of a two-state solution, has said the ships are meant to commit, quote, serious massacres in the Gaza Strip. And Iran has already threatened significant damages to the U.S. should the war escalate.
On the other hand, the spokesperson for Israel's military said that a visit by U.S. President Joe Biden to Israel would have strategic importance for the entire Middle East.
The visit of the President of the United States has strategic importance. Strategic importance for the entire Middle East, and influence in that is the most senior figure in the United States is coming to Israel at the time of war, getting review of the war situation, that talks of the different scenarios in the Middle East and the steps that will need to be taken in the event that Israel change.
But meanwhile, shifting our focus here, the Amazon River fell to its, lowest level in centuries. But before we move on to that, ladies and gentlemen, the Israeli military has been talking about a significant military operation for days, and Israeli forces haven't actually gone into the area yet. They've gathered troops and equipment, but no invasion has happened so far. So why has Israel not launched its ground operation yet? Why the delay? Israel's been talking about sending their troops into Gaza, and it's been seen as a big concern for many. But more than 1 million people in the northern part of Gaza have left their homes because of constant airstrikes. Last Sunday, the Israeli Defense Forces told the people in the northern half of the area that they had about 3 hours to get out. It seems there might be a delay due to bad weather. The airstrikes have caused significant damage in Gaza, and the weather conditions are making it even harder for Israeli pilots and drone operators to support the ground troops. According to the 3 military officers, Israel aims to eliminate top Hamas leaders in Gaza, but it's tough in such a cramped and populated area. Now, reportedly, Palestinian terrorists have kidnapped about 160 Israelis in Gaza. There's concern that these captives might be used as human shields when Israeli forces enter Gaza. Now, there is a delay, possibly because of the inclement weather like I was talking about. Weather conditions